Hi, my name is Emilio Sosa, and I am the costume designer for On Your Feet. First of all, Gloria Estefan and Emilio Estefan, they're like iconic Latin executives, Latin music, just music in general. And there's so much footage of her career. So that's where I started. It really is about just going back and doing a lot of research on what she wore and what they looked like. This is Miami in the 80s. So there's a lot of fun things to look at. So then there's a portion in the shows that we go back to Havana, 1959. So you look at a lot of images. I was able to go through the Estefan's archives and look at family photographs and actual costumes that she wore. So I was very fortunate that they opened up not only their hearts to all of us with their music, but they opened up like the archives and let me really try to get the essence of what Gloria and the Miami Sound Machine really meant. First of all, the Havana 1959 is so iconic. Everyone has a dream of what Cuban Havana was, but I wanted to really dig down and find the beauty, the elegance, not just what people think it is or the stereotypical, this is what Latino Americans look like in a club. I wanted to really find the essence of the fashion, because Cubans then, even now, were very fashionable. Besides Gloria, I would look at movies like Scarface, which some people will look at that and say, oh, it's a terrible depiction of the Cuban experience. But within, if you pull away from the story and look at the fashions, it's like a really slice of life of that period. So I looked at those things. I went through a lot of like a record album covers, which we don't have now. And that's very indicative of what people were wearing. You go through like old Dick Clark American Bandstands, and that's indicative of what the youth was wearing at that time. Miami specific was all about color. It's all about pastels, prints, big hair, men in blazers with rolled up sleeves, there's just shoulder pads, but beautiful. There's a lot of gold. It's something about Miami that was really happy in the color sense, and that's something that I really pulled from. The choreography, that's always the challenge, because you want to honor the movement. I always say the costumes, yes, they're visual and they're beautiful, but it's about honoring the movement or creating a character. So I had to make sure that the dresses moved as needed. You know, I wouldn't go to Sergio Trujillo, our choreographer, and say, you have to change a lift because my skirt can't go that high. So this is just an array of some of the designs that I created for the ensemble. For one of the big numbers that I love, it's called Mi Tierra. That's the one that's in Havana, 1959. But it was about trying to capture the 50s sensibility, also, but give it a little showbiz flair. Because although you want to make it real, it's also a show. So you want the audience to be transported, but also be like mystified. And nothing mystifies an audience on stage than shine and glitter. There's this gold dress that her mother, Gloria Fajardo, played by Andrea Burns, wears. And it's just, when she makes that entrance, you can just hear the audience gasp. And as a designer, that is like the best. So for this, we created this amazing gold lame, pleated, beaded, and blinged out silhouette. But then we embellished it, like we pleated all of these nets, just like 3 layers of net. That's all then pleated together. And then we embezzled it with all these like Swarovski crystals, just like layers of lace under. These are things that the audience may not notice, but those are the fine details that as a dressmaker, I love to see. And then this dress, who I love, which is worn by Lenady in the dress. What I love about it is she plays a young girl, and there's such youth in this pink tulle, but it's not bubblegum. So it's not too girly. It still has a bit of sophistication to it, but it's still young and flirty. And what I love was all this pleating detail on the net and how we layered these different browns and purples together to give it some depth. And then finally, what I love about this dress that's on Jenny Padilla is the architecture. The 50s was about shape and architecture, and the fabrics had like a certain weight to them. So we found this amazing purple brocade, and I just fell in love with it. So we created a really like sculptured bodice, but then we did like layers and layers of net and tulle to soften it. And that's what I think is what's beautiful about this section. It has the trappings of the period, like all the silhouettes are period, but then how I use fabric and textures is completely modern in mine. So it's like you get the essence without it being a copy. So this show always had that American dream component to it. And then on top of that, you add the music of Gloria and Emilio. And I grew up on that music. To be an immigrant in New York, to be designing one of the biggest shows on Broadway at this time in our world and in this country, I think it's very special.